Welcome back, dear dreamer. Tonight we drift into the quiet world of the Northern Lights, a slow river of colour flowing through the sleeping sky. High above the frozen earth, soft waves of green and pale gold move with gentle patience, as if the night itself is breathing in light. As you listen, let each breath slow down and let your thoughts grow lighter, like snow settling on still ground. This is not a journey of brightness or noise. It is a calm passage through silence, wonder, and quiet motion. Settle in, get comfortable, and allow the night to carry you forward, one peaceful moment at a time. If these gentle journeys bring you comfort, remember to subscribe and tap the like button. Now, let us begin. High above the sleeping earth, the Northern Lights begin like a soft whisper in the sky. At first, they're only a pale glow, a gentle hint of colour resting on the horizon. Slowly, very slowly, the glow stretches and unfolds, turning into long, silky curtains of green. They sway, as if the night itself is breathing in and out. The world below is still and quiet, covered in snow that softens every sound. As you watch, your thoughts begin to slow, matching the calm rhythm of the lights. Each shimmer feels like a soft lullaby written across the dark sky just for you. You might notice your shoulders dropping, your jaw loosening, your breathing falling into an easy, peaceful pattern as the sky continues its unhurried, glowing dance above. On the coldest winter nights, when the air feels sharp and the stars look close enough to touch, the Northern Lights drift into view like floating rivers of light. They do not rush or flash. Instead, they move slowly and gently as if they're in no hurry at all. The sky becomes a wide canvas where green and sometimes pink quietly weave together. With every passing minute, the patterns change, yet nothing feels sudden. The slow movement gives your mind permission to unwind, to release tight thoughts, and to simply follow the easy flowing shapes above. You may find yourself blinking less, holding your gaze on one soft curve of light, the rest of the world fading into a distant, harmless blur. Everything feels slow, safe, and wonderfully unhurried tonight. For people who live in northern lands, the Northern Lights are like old friends that visit on long, dark nights. Children are told stories about them, and elders remember nights spent watching them in silence. Some say the lights are messages from the past. Others say they are gifts from the sky. Whatever the story, the feeling is gentle and deep. When the lights appear, people step outside and look up, wrapped in warm coats and scarves. They speak in soft voices, if they speak at all, because the sky itself feels like a quiet, sacred place. In that shared silence, worries feel smaller, and the simple act of looking upward becomes a calm ritual of comfort and connection. Under the moving sky, generations feel quietly linked by the same soft wonder. The colours of the Northern Lights are soft, like watercolour paints floating in the sky. Green is the most common, glowing like a quiet forest reflected in a dark lake. Sometimes hints of pink or purple slide along the edges, moving like slow ripples in still water. These shades never feel harsh or bright. Instead, they blend and fade into each other with kindness, as if the sky is painting itself in gentle, sleepy strokes. Watching the colours melt together helps your mind soften too, loosening tight worries and making space for calm, drifting thoughts. Each slow change of colour feels like a deep breath from the universe, inviting you to breathe slowly along with it. Your eyes drift from glow to glow, and everything feels gentle, slow, and beautifully calm. When you stand beneath the Northern Lights, the world around you feels extra still. Snow lies heavy on the ground, covering hills, trees, and rooftops in a soft white blanket. Every step you take makes only a quiet crunch, and even that sound feels respectful of the night. In that hush, the lights above seem even more magical. They slide and twist across the sky without making a sound. You feel small but safe. like a quiet visitor in a huge, peaceful world that is much older and calmer than any worry you brought outside with you tonight. The long, dark horizon stretches softly in every direction, holding you in a gentle circle of winter calm. The northern lights are born from tiny invisible particles that travel from the sun to the earth, but you do not need to understand the science to feel their beauty. All you need to do is look up and breathe. The gentle waves of colour remind you that so much is happening quietly in the universe, far beyond your daily concerns. While you watch, the idea of work, stress, or tasks slowly fades into the background. What remains is the simple pleasure of standing under a sky that is softly glowing, as if it is smiling in slow motion. The more you watch, the more the night feels kind and spacious, giving your tired thoughts room to settle and rest. Each quiet second beneath this glowing sky feels like a small healing pause. Sometimes the northern lights appear as a long glowing arc stretching from one side of the sky to the other. It looks like a soft green bridge made of light, connecting faraway stars. At other times, the arc breaks into flowing shapes that twist and curl, almost like soft fabric moving in water. The patterns change so gradually that you hardly notice each shift. You only realize after a while that the sky looks different from before. That gentle, almost secret change has a calming effect, inviting you to relax into the moment instead of chasing after every thought. As you keep watching, you may feel as if your own thoughts are joining the slow dance, drifting lazily across your mind and then floating away. On quiet nights by a frozen lake, the northern lights can reflect on the ice like a dream doubled. The sky above glows with moving colour, and the surface below holds a trembling copy, slightly blurred and softer. Standing there, you feel held between two skies, one above and one at your feet. The air is cold, but your breathing is slow and steady. You may tuck your hands into warm pockets and simply watch the reflections shimmer. It feels like standing inside a peaceful story that has no need for words, only light and silence. The gentle balance of sky and ice makes the whole world feel calm, level, and beautifully still. It is a quiet, dreamy balance that gently soothes you. People often travel long distances just to spend a few nights hoping to see the northern lights. They leave behind busy streets and bright city lights to find dark, open spaces where the sky is clear. Even the waiting becomes part of the calm. They sit by warm fires, sip hot drinks, and step out every so often to scan the sky. The moment the first pale glow appears, a quiet excitement fills the air, but it is not loud. It is soft and grateful, like finally meeting someone gentle you have wanted to see for a very long time. That soft joy settles into the heart and lingers, long after the lights have faded away. Their journeys end in softly lit nights, where the sky rewards patience with a tender glowing show. Even when the northern lights are faint, barely brushing the horizon with a soft line of green, they can still bring a feeling of peace. You know that high above, the sky's busy with quiet, glowing activity, even if your eyes only catch a small part of it. This thought alone can be comforting. It reminds you that there is always more beauty than you can see at once. As you stand there, breathing slowly, the faint light seems to wrap around your thoughts, smoothing their sharp edges and guiding you gently toward rest and sleep. The night no longer feels empty. It feels gently, silently alive. Knowing this, you can let your eyes grow heavy and your breathing drift into a sleepy rhythm, feeling safely held by the quiet, glowing north. On nights when clouds drift slowly across the Arctic sky, the northern lights sometimes peek through in soft, glowing gaps. The clouds move like quiet curtains, gently opening and closing as the light behind them shimmers and fades. This gentle hiding and revealing makes the sky feel shy and alive at the same time. You may wait patiently, wrapped in stillness, watching for the next soft glow to return, and when it does, it feels like a gentle reward for your quiet attention. The slow rhythm of cloud and light invites your breathing to slow as well. In that peaceful waiting, your thoughts soften, and even time itself seems to move more gently, as if the night is teaching you how to rest without effort. In deep winter, when darkness lasts most of the day, the northern lights feel like gentle companions in the long night. They arrive without announcement, silently transforming the sky into a moving painting of light. The land below remains dark and still, but above, soft motion continues without pause. This contrast between the quiet ground and the glowing sky creates a peaceful balance. You begin to feel that stillness and motion can live together without conflict. As you watch the lights glide slowly overhead, your own worries feel lighter, as if they're floating upward and dissolving into the soft green glow. The long winter night becomes less lonely and more like a gentle, glowing shelter of calm. Sometimes the northern lights move so slowly that you can almost forget they're changing at all. You look up, then look away for a moment, and when you look back, the sky feels different without you noticing the exact instant it shifted. This dreamy movement pulls your mind out of sharp awareness and into a softer drifting state. You stop tracking exact shapes and start feeling the mood instead. The light becomes less like something to observe and more like something to sink into. Your eyes relax, your thoughts loosen, and the quiet glow seems to surround you rather than sit only high above. It is in these slow moments that the lights feel most like a lullaby written in colour. In places where the air is so clean that every star shines sharply, the northern lights seem to float among the stars themselves. The fixed points of light from distant suns remain steady, while the glowing waves drift between them like slow-moving rivers. This gentle contrast between still stars and flowing light creates a feeling of depth and peace. It is easy to lose track of how high the lights really are. They feel close, as if you could reach up and touch the soft glow with your fingertips. This closeness comforts the mind, creating a feeling that the sky's not distant or cold, but quietly watching over the sleeping world below with gentle care. The northern lights often arrive late at night, when most of the world is already asleep. Houses are dark, roads are empty, even the wind seems to rest. In this stillness, the lights feel like a secret shared only with those who are awake enough to notice. Standing beneath them at such an hour feels private and personal, as if the sky is quietly unfolding something just for you. The silence grows deeper, and your senses become softer. You hear your own breathing more clearly. You feel the cold air on your cheeks. Under this quiet attention, your body begins to relax on its own, guided by the slow glowing motions above. Occasionally the northern lights stretch into tall vertical pillars of light that seem to rise straight up into the sky. These glowing columns feel calm and steady, like quiet beams holding up the night. They may sway gently, but they never feel rushed or chaotic. Watching them feels grounding, as if their steady shapes are calming the restless parts of your mind. You may find yourself standing a little straighter, breathing a little deeper, simply because the sky itself looks balanced and at ease. In this silent exchange between you and the night, tension quietly slips away, leaving only a gentle sense of being present and supported. On nights when the lights are especially bright, they can softly light up the snow-covered ground below. Shadows stretch across frozen fields and quiet forests, moving slowly as the lights shift overhead. The world becomes a gentle dance of light and dark with no sharp edges, only soft contrast. This quiet movement across the land makes the night feel alive but not busy. It feels like the world is breathing with the sky, sharing a slow, steady rhythm. Standing there, you may feel as if you are part of that rhythm too, your breath falling into an easy, natural pace that guides you gently toward rest. The northern lights never follow a schedule. They arrive when they choose and leave without warning. Some nights they last only a few minutes, and other nights they drift across the sky for hours. This quiet uncertainty teaches patience in a gentle way. You learn to wait without rushing, to watch without expecting too much. In that waiting, your mind begins to loosen its grip on control. You stop checking the time, you stop planning the next moment, you simply stay with the night, allowing whatever appears to appear. This peaceful surrender becomes one of the most calming gifts the lights can offer to those who watch them quietly. On clear, windless nights, sound travels far across the frozen land. Yet, when the northern lights glow overhead, even distant sounds seem softer. A faraway dog's bark, a quiet footstep in snow, the faint crack of ice on a lake all feel wrapped in softness. The lights themselves make no sound, yet their presence seems to hush everything else. This quieting effect reaches inside as well. Internal noise, restless thoughts, and scattered emotions begin to settle. It feels as if the sky is gently placing a calm hand over the world, encouraging everything to slow down and rest together in shared stillness. There is a gentle kind of comfort in knowing that while you stand beneath the northern lights, the Earth continues its quiet turning through space. The stars slowly shift, the night deepens, the glow drifts and changes, and through it all you remain still and breathing. This feeling of being part of something vast but peaceful can be deeply calming. It reminds you that you do not need to rush or carry everything at once. Just like the lights, you're allowed to move slowly, to change gently, to rest in quiet motion. Under the glowing sky, even the idea of time feels softer and less demanding. Sometimes the northern lights appear after long hours of waiting beneath an empty sky. Stars shine quietly, the land remains dark, and nothing seems to change for a long time. Then, very slowly, a faint line of green begins to form like a soft breath at the edge of the horizon. It feels like the sky is waking up gently, stretching without hurry. The quiet joy of that first appearance settles deeply into the heart. It feels earned through patience and stillness. As the light slowly grows brighter, you may feel your own energy soften instead of rise. There is no rush of excitement, only a peaceful recognition that something rare and gentle is unfolding above you in its own calm time. In wide open spaces where snow stretches to meet the sky, the northern lights feel especially vast. There are no tall buildings, no bright street lamps, only the soft curve of the land and the endless open dark. In such places, the sky feels close enough to touch. The lights flow across it like slow, glowing rivers, crossing the stars without disturbing them. Standing there, you may feel small in the best possible way. Your worries seem lighter, less heavy, more willing to drift away. The quiet openness of the land and sky together creates a deep sense of calm, as if the whole world has paused just to breathe with you. The northern lights sometimes flicker gently at their edges, like soft firelight reflected on distant water. These small ripples of movement add texture and softness to the glow, keeping the light alive without making it feel busy. Watching these tiny changes invites your eyes to relax into the details, rather than scan the whole sky at once. Your vision softens, your blinking slows, and your body follows along. It becomes easy to stand without shifting your weight, to breathe without effort, to exist in quiet stillness, while the faint light continues its gentle, living motion above you. On nights when the sky is especially clear, the northern lights can be seen stretching high overhead, filling nearly the entire view from horizon to horizon. Turning your head from one side to the other feels like slowly turning through a glowing dome of colour. The light does not overwhelm, it surrounds softly, like being inside a gentle dream. In this wide field of glowing movement, the sense of personal space seems to expand. Your body feels lighter, your thoughts feel wider, and yet everything remains slow and calm. It feels as if the sky itself is holding you within a quiet, luminous embrace. In some northern villages, People step outside in silence when the lights appear. Doors open quietly. Boots touch snow softly. Faces tilt upward without a word. The moment does not need to be filled with talking. The shared experience itself is enough. In that collective quiet, there is a feeling of connection that needs no explanation. Everyone stands beneath the same glowing sky, breathing the same cold, clean air. The lights do not belong to anyone alone, but to everyone together. This gentle togetherness adds another layer of warmth to the cold night and reminds the heart that peace can be shared without sound. When the northern lights fade for a while, the sky often returns to deep black filled with quiet stars. This pause between glows feels like a soft rest in the middle of a slow song. The eyes adjust to darkness again. The world grows even quieter. You may feel a calm waiting settle inside you, not filled with tension but with gentle anticipation. And when the light returns, it feels like the next slow verse of a peaceful melody. This quiet rhythm of appearance and absence keeps the night from feeling static. It teaches the mind that waiting itself can be calm and comforting. Some nights the lights drift so low in the sky that they seem to touch distant mountains or treetops. The glow follows the shape of the land, gently outlining faraway ridges with a soft green hush. The connection between sky and earth feels close and intimate in these moments. The lights no longer feel far away but softly woven into the shape of the world itself. Watching this quiet meeting of light and land can create a feeling of belonging, as if you too are part of the gentle pattern unfolding between heaven and earth. The northern lights often move in long, slow waves that rise and fall like the tide of a silent ocean. These glowing waves do not crash or break. They simply lift, roll, and fade one into another. This movement naturally guides your breathing into the same slow rhythm. Inhale as the light rises. Exhale as it softens and falls away. Without thinking about it, your body begins to mirror the sky. Muscles loosen, shoulders relax, and the steady rhythm carries you toward deeper calm. It becomes easy to stand very still, held by the soft motion overhead. Even after the northern lights fade, the memory of their movement often lingers behind closed eyes. When you finally look away from the sky, slow traces of glowing shapes seem to drift across your vision for a few quiet moments. These gentle after images feel like the sky has left a soft imprint on your thoughts. As you walk back inside or lie down to rest, that soft glow seems to follow you in memory. It continues to comfort, reminding you of the wide, quiet world beyond walls and worries, where the sky still moves gently in silence. There is something deeply reassuring in knowing that the northern lights will return again on other quiet nights, long after this one has passed. They follow their own gentle rhythm across seasons and years, appearing and fading without concern for human schedules. This steady return brings a feeling of trust and continuity. No matter how restless life becomes, the lights remain part of the greater, calmer rhythm of the world. Remembering this can bring comfort as you drift towards sleep, knowing that beyond the noise of daily life, the sky still holds its slow, glowing dance. On some nights, the northern lights appear so softly that you almost miss their arrival. The sky looks normal at first, dark and filled with quiet stars. Then a delicate glow begins to form, so faint it feels like a gentle thought rather than light. You might wonder if your eyes are playing tricks on you, but slowly the glow grows steadier, stretching wider, becoming real. This slow awakening of the sky feels tender and unhurried. It teaches patience without effort. As you continue to watch, your breathing grows slower, your eyes grow heavier, and the quiet certainty that the lights are truly there settles gently into your heart. The northern lights often seem to respond to the stillness of the land below. When the ground is quiet, covered in snow without wind or movement, the sky above moves with extra grace. The lights glide in long, slow arcs, never breaking the calm. It feels as though the sky is respecting the silence of the earth. This harmony between above and below creates a deep feeling of peace inside the observer. You no longer feel separate from the night. You feel included in its quiet balance. The sky moves, the land rests, and you, standing between them, begin to rest as well. In the deep cold, when eyelashes collect frost and breath becomes a soft white cloud, the warmth of the northern lights is not physical, but emotional. Their glow does not heat the air, yet it warms the heart in a quiet way. The contrast between icy cold and gentle light feels comforting rather than harsh. It reminds you that softness can exist even in the coldest places. Your fingers may be numb inside your gloves, but inside your chest there is a spreading warmth that comes from witnessing something calm, rare, and quietly beautiful in the stillness of winter. Sometimes the northern lights drift in wide, flowing sheets that stretch across the entire sky. These glowing curtains seem to fold and unfold endlessly, like silk moving through water. The folds travel slowly from one side to the other, never hurried, never sharp. Watching these soft movements can make your own thoughts feel smoother and quieter. Sharp edges of worry soften. Tension melts into the cold night air. The longer you watch, the more your mind begins to feel like those glowing sheets, moving gently without resistance, guided only by the slow rhythm of the sky. There are nights when the lights pause almost completely, holding their shape for long moments as if frozen in motion. During these still moments, the sky feels like a living painting that has stopped just long enough for you to truly see it. Time seems to stretch gently. You may forget how long you've been standing there. Your legs feel still, your breath slow, your thoughts quiet. In this suspended calm, the world feels perfectly balanced between movement and rest. And when the lights finally shift again, they do so gently that the moment feels like a soft awakening from a dream. When snow begins to fall under the northern lights, the scene becomes even more dreamlike. Tiny flakes drift slowly through the glowing sky, catching faint hints of green and soft colour as they fall. Each snowflake moves at its own gentle pace, adding another slow layer to the quiet motion of the night. The air feels thicker and softer. Sound becomes even more distant. Watching snowfall beneath glowing light feels like standing inside a living dream, where everything is slowed down just enough for the heart to fully rest inside it. In wide, frozen valleys, the northern lights often stretch low and wide, filling the lower edge of the sky like a glowing horizon of soft fire. The land below remains dark and still, while the sky glows gently above it. This contrast feels peaceful rather than dramatic. It is as if the sky is offering quiet companionship to the sleeping earth. Standing in such a place, you may feel surrounded by silence in every direction, yet never feel alone. The lights become silent guardians, watching over the cold landscape and everyone resting beneath them. The northern lights often arrive without sound, without warning, without ceremony. There is no announcement, no signal, no sound to mark their coming. They simply appear, softly and naturally, like a slow breath taken by the sky. This quiet arrival feels deeply calming. Nothing is demanded of you. Nothing is rushed. You are free to notice them when you're ready. This gentle way of appearing teaches the mind that not everything important needs to be loud or fast. Some of the most beautiful moments come quietly, slipping into your awareness without effort. Sometimes the lights form shapes that seem familiar for just a fleeting moment, like distant animals, flowing rivers, or gentle wings stretched across the sky. These shapes never stay long. They dissolve and transform before the mind can fully grasp them. This gentle mystery keeps the experience soft and dreamy. You do not chase meaning, you simply observe. The lights invite your imagination to drift without holding on to any single thought. In this drifting state, your mind begins to wander slowly towards sleep, guided by light that never tries to explain itself. After long hours of watching, When the northern lights finally fade for the night, the sky returns to quiet darkness filled with stars. Yet the stillness now feels different. It feels fuller. The silence carries the memory of gentle colour and motion. As you turn away and begin to rest, the slow rhythm of the light seems to continue inside you. Your breathing keeps their pace, your thoughts keep their softness. And even in complete darkness, the calm they stirred remains with you, guiding you gently toward deep and peaceful sleep. On certain nights, the northern lights begin so quietly that they feel like a secret shared only between the sky and your eyes. The darkness stays deep for a long time, and then slowly, as if the sky is exhaling, a soft ribbon of light stretches across the horizon. It does not demand attention, it simply exists. You find yourself leaning into the stillness, shoulders relaxed, breath slowing without effort. The light grows wider and brighter, yet never loud. It feels like the sky is reassuring you, telling you that beauty does not need to rush. Standing beneath that slow unfolding, your nervous system softens, thoughts loosen, and the night becomes a wide, quiet space where rest feels natural. In places far from human noise, where the land sleeps under untouched snow, the northern lights seem to move with even greater gentleness. There are no engines, no voices, no distant city hum, only the faint whisper of cold air and the soft shimmer of colour above. The silence feels thick but comforting, wrapping around you like a heavy blanket. In this quiet, the lights feel less like a spectacle and more like a slow companion moving across the sky. You feel no pressure to react, no urge to speak. The moment asks nothing of you except quiet awareness, and in giving it that, you feel your body settling deeper into calm. Sometimes the northern lights form wide, glowing bands that stretch from one end of the sky to the other. These luminous bridges seem to connect distant parts of the night, stitching the stars together with threads of soft green. Watching them feels like watching the slow breathing of the universe. The light swells slightly, then softens again, never in a hurry. You may find your breath unconsciously matching this rhythm, drawing in gently as the light brightens and releasing as it fades. This quiet synchronization between your body and the sky creates a deep peace, the kind of peace that does not come from thinking, but from simply being. On the coldest nights, when the air feels sharp and every breath sparkles in front of you, the northern lights seem to soften the cold with their presence. The sky glows gently while the land remains frozen and still. The contrast feels comforting instead of harsh. Your skin feels the cold, but your chest feels warm with quiet wonder. The lights remind you that gentleness can exist even in extreme conditions, that beauty does not require comfort to survive. Standing there, wrapped in layers of clothing and silence, you feel held between two truths at once: the crisp cold of the earth and the soft glow of the sky, balanced perfectly between them. At times, the northern lights appear to ripple like slow waves across a calm sea. The motion is smooth and continuous, rising and falling in long, quiet patterns. There is no sudden change, no sharp break in movement. The light simply flows. Watching this gentle motion can make the mind feel similarly fluid. Thoughts become less rigid. Worries lose their edges. Everything inside begins to drift instead of resist. Your eyes grow heavy as they follow one slow wave after another. The repetitive softness has a hypnotic effect, not in a dramatic way, but in the slow, natural way that lulls the body toward rest. In some moments, the lights gather into soft clusters that glow brighter in certain places, like gentle knots of energy resting in the sky. These bright areas slowly fade while others grow stronger nearby, creating a quiet shifting of focus. The glow never feels aggressive. It only invites attention softly, without insisting. As your gaze drifts from one cluster to another, your awareness becomes calm and steady. You stop scanning the sky and instead allow the glow to come to you. This passive watching brings a deep sense of relaxation, as if you are floating alongside the light rather than standing beneath it. On long winter nights in the far north, time feels different beneath the northern lights. Hours can pass without feeling heavy. The usual sense of urgency disappears. The night stretches wide and generous, giving you permission to linger without purpose. You're not waiting for anything. You're not trying to capture the moment. You're simply within it. The slow movement of light across the sky becomes the only clock you need. Each gentle shift replaces the ticking of seconds. Each fade and return becomes a soft measure of passing time, one that carries no pressure, only calm progression. When thin clouds drift across the glowing sky, the northern lights blur into soft streaks of colour that feel even more dreamlike. The edges of the light soften behind the moving mist, turning into gentle gradients of green and pale gold. The clouds act like a translucent veil, allowing the glow to be seen without sharp definition. This hazy effect deepens the feeling that you are standing inside a dream rather than watching one. Shapes lose their boundaries, motion becomes slower in perception. The entire sky feels wrapped in softness. In that softness, your mind relaxes its grip on clarity and drifts into quiet imagination. There are nights when the northern lights retreat toward the horizon, staying low and distant, as if the sky is whispering instead of speaking. The glow rests near the edge of the world, colouring the far distance with soft light. The land in front of you remains dark and still, while the boundary between earth and sky glows gently in the distance. This faraway light carries a peaceful sense of depth. It reminds you that beauty does not always need to be close to be felt. Even from far away, the lights bring comfort, drawing your thoughts outward and easing the weight of the moment. After hours of watching, when your neck tires and the cold presses deeper into your clothes, turning away from the northern lights can feel like leaving a meditative state. The sky fades back into darkness and stars, but the calm does not disappear with the light. It travels inward with you. As you walk, your footsteps feel softer. Your thoughts feel slower. The rhythm of the sky continues inside your breathing. Even when you finally close your eyes, the slow waves of glowing light seem to continue behind your eyelids, guiding you gently toward rest. On nights when the air is perfectly still, the northern lights seem to move even more slowly, as if the sky itself is resting. There is no wind to hurry the clouds, no sound to distract the senses. Only the quiet glow drifts across the deep darkness. The stillness feels so complete that even your thoughts begin to move more slowly. Each wave of light stretches gently from one side of the sky to the other, unbroken and smooth. You may notice how your breathing naturally slows to match this unhurried motion. In this calm exchange between sky and body, tension fades without effort. The night does not ask you to be alert or excited. It only asks you to be present, quietly watching as the slow river of light carries your awareness toward rest. Sometimes the northern lights form wide arcs that feel like protective arms spread across the sky. These glowing curves rest above the land like a gentle shelter, enclosing everything beneath them in soft light. The world feels smaller and safer under these glowing shapes. Trees, snowfields, frozen rivers, and quiet houses all rest beneath the same calm canopy. Standing there, you may feel a sudden, gentle sense of being looked after. Not in a dramatic way, but in the quiet way that brings ease to the chest. Your shoulders drop, your jaw softens. The sky feels less distant and more like a calm presence holding the night together in patient silence. On certain nights, the lights shift so smoothly that the colours seem to melt into one another like slow-moving ink in water. Green fades gently into pale yellow, then into soft violet before returning again. There are no sharp boundaries, only gentle blending. Watching these gradual changes can feel like watching your own thoughts dissolve and reform without resistance. Worries lose their clear edges. Plans feel less urgent. Everything inside the mind becomes fluid and quiet. The longer you stay with these drifting colours, the easier it becomes to let go of the need to control what comes next. The sky leads. You follow softly. In the farthest northern places, where days can pass without sunlight in winter, the northern lights feel like the sky's gentle answer to long darkness. They do not overwhelm the night. They simply soften it. The land remains quiet and shadowed, but above it, glowing motion continues with steady patience. For those standing beneath, the lights can feel like quiet companions during endless winter nights. They arrive without judgment, offering calm beauty without expectation. In their presence, the darkness no longer feels empty. It feels full of slow movement and hidden life gently unfolding beyond the reach of sound. There are moments when the northern lights seem to pause, holding their shapes like a still painting stretched across the sky. The glow remains steady for long seconds, perhaps minutes, as if the night has decided to take a slow breath and hold it. During these pauses, everything feels suspended. The cold, the stars, your own heartbeat all seem to exist in one long, quiet moment. You may become deeply aware of the sound of your breath moving in and out. The stillness grows so complete that even thinking feels unnecessary. In this suspended state, the mind drifts naturally toward rest without being guided. When the northern lights dance low in the sky, they sometimes appear to skim the tops of distant trees or mountains. Their glow outlines the quiet shapes of the land in soft layers of light and shadow. The horizon becomes a gentle meeting place between earth and sky. Watching this quiet connection can bring a feeling of belonging. You're not standing apart from the world, you're placed gently inside it. The land holds your feet, the sky holds your eyes. Between the two, you exist in a calm middle space where nothing needs to be proven or explained. On nights when the cold becomes especially deep, sound itself seems to freeze in the air. Your footsteps in the snow sound distant and soft. The world shrinks into a small circle of awareness around your still body and the moving sky above. In this focused quiet, the northern lights feel even more intimate. Each shift of light feels personal, as if it is happening only for you. The glow moves with such quiet patience that your own internal noise begins to settle. The cold becomes background. The light becomes the only thing you need to notice. Sometimes the lights brighten suddenly for a short while, filling the sky with stronger colour before slowly dimming again. Even in these brighter moments, nothing feels rushed. The glow swells like a deep breath taken by the night, then eases out again. This slow expansion and release feels deeply calming to watch. It mirrors the gentle rise and fall of the chest during relaxed breathing. Your body recognizes this rhythm without conscious effort. Muscles follow the pattern, breath follows the pattern, and soon your entire nervous system seems to settle into the same gentle cycle of slow expansion and peaceful release. In places where the land stretches wide and flat, the northern lights often appear as long, low rivers of light flowing just above the horizon. These glowing bands move quietly from one side of the world to the other, never hurrying, never stopping abruptly. The simplicity of this movement can feel deeply soothing. There are no sudden changes to track, no dramatic turns to anticipate, only slow, continuous flow. Watching it is like watching time itself slow down. The busy sense of past and future fades, leaving only the slow present moment carried forward on a quiet current of light. The longer you stand beneath the northern lights, the more your sense of scale begins to soften. The sky feels vast, yet not overwhelming. The land feels small, yet not fragile. You begin to feel comfortably placed within a much larger rhythm. This balance brings a deep emotional quiet. The need to measure yourself against anything else dissolves. There is nothing to compare. There is only the steady movement of light, the steady presence of cold air, and the steady rhythm of your own breath meeting the night in calm silence. When the northern lights finally fade at the end of a long viewing, the darkness that follows does not feel empty. It feels rested. The sky returns to deep black scattered with stars, but the memory of slow movement lingers like a gentle echo. As you turn away and begin to move toward warmth and shelter, the calm remains inside you. Each step feels lighter, each breath feels deeper, and when you finally lie down and close your eyes, the soft waves of glowing light seem to continue behind your eyelids, guiding your mind gently into quiet sleep. On certain nights, the northern lights move so gently that the sky feels like it is whispering instead of glowing. The colours appear thin and delicate, like soft breath against cold glass. You may need to stay very still to notice their movement at first. The faint glow slowly strengthens but never becomes harsh. It remains tender, floating quietly above the dark land. This softness invites your eyes to relax instead of strain. Your focus narrows naturally to the subtle motion. As you watch, the quiet patience of the sky begins to sink into your nervous system, slowing everything inside you until even your thoughts feel wrapped in gentle silence. In deep winter forests, the northern lights filter softly through tall, dark trees. The branches stand like quiet shadows against the glowing sky, their outlines shifting slowly as the light moves beyond them. The forest feels like a place of rest, holding both darkness and glow in peaceful balance. The snow beneath the trees absorbs every sound, making your presence feel lighter and more gentle. Standing there, you may feel as if the world has been hushed on purpose, just so you can notice the sky more clearly. The air feels thick with calm, and your breathing begins to match the slow stillness of the trees and light together. Sometimes the northern lights appear as wide, gentle spirals that turn slowly in the sky. These quiet rotations feel unhurried and smooth, like a slow-moving current deep beneath the surface of calm water. There is no sudden change in direction, no sharp twist, only steady turning. Watching these slow spirals can make your own inner pace unwind. Thoughts that felt tangled begin to untwist without effort. You stop chasing one idea after another. Instead, your awareness drifts around the circle of light, carried along by motion that feels endlessly patient and soothing. In places where frozen rivers cut through the land, the northern lights often mirror their shape in the sky above. The glow curves gently along the same distant path, as if sky and earth are quietly copying one another. The frozen river rests in stillness, while the glowing river above continues its slow journey across the night. This reflection of movement and stillness feels deeply comforting. It reminds you that rest and motion can exist side by side without conflict. The world does not need to choose between the two. It can hold both at once, gently and without strain. On nights when the stars feel especially bright, the northern lights drift between them like soft curtains, moving through a room filled with tiny candles. The stars remain fixed, steady and silent, while the light flows slowly around them. This contrast between still points and moving glow creates a feeling of depth that draws your awareness outward. The sky feels layered and spacious. Your worries feel small without feeling insignificant. They simply seem to float farther away, carried gently into the background while the sky's slow motion becomes the main rhythm your senses follow. There are evenings when the northern lights feel like they come not from above, but from within the darkness itself. The glow rises softly out of the black sky, as if the night is quietly breathing light into the cold air. The transition from darkness to colour is so smooth that you cannot find the exact moment when one becomes the other. Watching this slow birth of light can feel deeply calming. It mirrors the way sleep slowly arrives, not as a sudden drop, but as a gentle fading from one state into another, guided by quiet surrender. When the northern lights stretch across a frozen lake, Their reflection moves just slightly slower than the sky above. The ice softens the motion, turning sharp edges into slow blurs of colour. The world becomes layered in gentle movement. Light above, soft echo of light below, stillness everywhere else. Watching the sky and its reflection together creates a feeling of balance that settles deeply in the chest. It feels like the night is holding a slow conversation with itself, and you are the silent witness resting comfortably between both sides. In remote northern places, the temperature can fall so low that even metal seems to grow quiet in the cold. In this deep freeze, the northern lights glow without any hint of struggle. They move freely through the silent sky, unaffected by the harshness below. This quiet resilience carries a subtle comfort. It reminds you that softness does not mean weakness. Gentleness can exist even in extreme conditions. As you stand beneath that glowing reminder, your own inattention begins to soften. You realize that you, too, are allowed to be gentle even when the world feels cold or demanding. Some nights the northern lights drift so slowly that you begin to lose your sense of beginning and end. There is no clear start to their movement and no clear finish. The glow simply exists in a continuous state of becoming. This endless flow can gently pull the mind out of linear thinking. You stop counting time. You stop tracking progress. You become comfortable inside a moment that has no need for direction. This timelessness feels deeply restful. It allows the mind to release the habit of anticipation and to rest in the quiet comfort of what already is. After watching the northern lights for a long time, your eyes may grow heavy not from exhaustion, but from contentment. The gentle repetition of slow movement, soft colour and quiet stillness works like a lullaby created by the sky itself. Each wave of light seems to carry you a little deeper into calm. When you finally look away, the darkness no longer feels empty. It feels full of quiet motion just beyond sight. And as you close your eyes, the memory of that slow, glowing dance continues within you, guiding your thoughts towards sleep with steady patience. On nights when the northern lights arrive gently before midnight, the sky feels like it is easing you into rest rather than pulling you into wonder. The first glow is always subtle, barely lifting itself away from the darkness. It feels like the sky is stretching slowly after a long sleep. The green light spreads patiently, never rushing to become bright. As you watch, your own alertness softens instead of rising. Excitement dissolves into quiet appreciation. You feel allowed to be calm in the presence of beauty, not pushed into awe. The slow rise of light mirrors the way sleep slowly replaces wakefulness. Your breathing deepens without effort. The night feels kind and unhurried, and the sky seems to invite you to follow its pace into gentle rest. In the silent tundra, where snow stretches unbroken to the horizon, the northern lights feel even more isolated and peaceful. There are no roads, no houses, no distant sounds to interrupt the stillness. Only the faint whisper of wind and the soft movement of glowing colour exist together. The sky feels wide and open like a slow, steady breath. Standing in such a place, your thoughts naturally become fewer and farther apart. There is nothing to hold on to mentally, nothing to solve. The vast emptiness of the land and the gentle fullness of the sky create a balance that settles deeply into the body. You feel suspended in a quiet moment that does not ask you to hurry back into the world. Sometimes the northern lights appear as a soft veil stretched across the stars, lightly dimming their sharp brightness without making them disappear. The starlight and the glowing curtain exist together, neither overpowering the other. This calm layering of light feels gentle to the eyes and soothing to the mind. The glow becomes less like a spectacle and more like a calming filter placed over the night. Watching through it, everything feels softened and slowed. Even the sharpest thoughts lose their edge. The night becomes a place where nothing feels urgent or demanding. Your awareness drifts like the light itself, slow and comfortably unfocused. On nights when the northern lights shimmer in delicate pulses, the sky seems to gently blink in slow motion. The light brightens, softens, then brightens again without any sudden change. This slow rhythm is comforting in its predictability. It creates a visual heartbeat for the night, steady and calm. Without thinking about it, your own body begins to follow this rhythm. Your chest rises and falls more evenly. Your muscles relax in small, unnoticed waves. The longer you watch, the more this quiet pulse seems to guide you inward. The outside world fades into background silence. Only the slow light and your steady breathing remain. In villages far north, the northern lights sometimes glow faintly behind frost-covered windows, their soft colour seeping into dark rooms as a quiet companion to sleep. You may lie beneath thick blankets, feeling the warmth of shelter while knowing that outside the sky is slowly moving with silent light. This unseen presence feels comforting rather than distant. It is like knowing that something gentle continues beyond your closed eyes. Even without watching directly, the idea of the lights drifting outside can soothe the mind. It reminds you that beauty does not stop just because you rest. It continues quietly, patiently, without needing your attention. When the northern lights drift in long, horizontal bands, the sky feels stretched wide and calm. These glowing lines rest gently across the night like soft ribbons laid carefully in place. They move so slowly that their shift feels more like breathing than motion. Nothing startles the eye. Nothing interrupts the calm. Watching these steady bands can quiet even the busiest mind. The repetition is subtle but grounding. The presence of slow, stable light tells your nervous system that it is safe to slow down. There is no rush hidden anywhere in the sky. Everything flows at the pace of rest. There are moments when the northern lights seem to respond to your stillness. When you stop moving, stop adjusting your stance, stop turning your head too quickly, the light appears to grow smoother, calmer, more steady in your perception. It is not that the sky changes for you, but that your awareness finally matches it. You feel less like a watcher and more like a part of the night itself. The cold air no longer feels sharp. It feels clean and quiet. The weight of your body feels grounded and calm. Time loosens its grip and you rest inside the slow rhythm without effort. On nights when the glow gathers closer to the horizon, the northern lights appear to cradle the land in soft light. The ground remains dark, but the distant edge of the world is gently illuminated. Mountains and treetops become quiet silhouettes against the glowing boundary between earth and sky. This gentle framing makes the world feel held rather than exposed. You may feel a similar sense of being gently held within the night. Nothing presses in, nothing pushes outward. The horizon becomes a slow, glowing reminder that rest does not mean disappearance. It simply means softening into stillness. Sometimes the northern lights linger long after you expect them to fade, staying with the night as if accompanying it through every quiet stage. Their presence becomes so familiar that you stop thinking of them as something special and begin to feel them as part of the natural background of rest. They stop pulling your attention upward and instead blend gently into your awareness. This transition creates deep calm. When something beautiful becomes familiar without becoming boring, the mind relaxes into acceptance. The lights no longer feel like visitors, they feel like calm neighbours moving slowly above, reminding you that some forms of beauty remain without asking for excitement. As the night grows older and colder, the northern lights often soften rather than strengthen. Their colours fade into paler shades. Their motion slows into barely noticeable drift. This gentle winding down feels like the sky itself is preparing for sleep. The earlier energy dissolves into quiet persistence. Watching this slow retreat can guide your own transition toward rest. You no longer wait for the next bright wave. You simply sit with fading light, and growing darkness. The balance between what remains and what disappears becomes deeply peaceful. When the glow finally leaves the sky, it does so without drama, teaching the mind that endings can be as gentle as beginnings. On quiet Arctic nights, the northern lights often feel like a gentle signal that the world has truly slowed down. The air becomes still, the land rests under its heavy blanket of snow, and even distant sounds seem to fade away. When the first soft glow appears in the sky, it does not interrupt the silence, it blends into it. The light moves with patience, as if it understands that the night is meant for rest. Watching it feels like being guided into slower breathing and softer thoughts. You do not feel awake in a sharp way. You feel gently aware, calm and steady, as if your mind is floating just above sleep. The lights do not pull you upward with excitement. They carry you inward with quiet ease, letting the night hold you without any effort at all. Sometimes the northern lights move so gently that they feel less like light and more like a feeling drifting through the sky. You may not always notice where one shape ends and another begins. The edges blur softly, and the glow becomes more like a presence than a picture. This softness allows your eyes to relax deeply. You stop trying to follow details, you stop labeling shapes, you simply rest your gaze on the slow movement, letting it pass through your awareness like a calm breath. In this way, the sky teaches the mind how to let go without force. There is nothing to solve, nothing to understand. There is only slow movement and quiet colour, and that is more than enough to guide you toward rest. In the far north, where winter lasts long and nights stretch wide, the northern lights become part of the rhythm of life. They appear, fade, and return with a quiet familiarity. For those who watch them often, the lights no longer feel rare or surprising. They feel comforting, like an old song that still carries peace every time it is heard. This familiarity adds a deeper layer of calm. When something beautiful no longer shocks the senses, it begins to soothe them instead. The lights become less about wonder and more about reassurance. They remind the heart that even in deep cold and long darkness, gentle motion and soft colour still exist, moving steadily without stress or struggle. There are nights when the northern lights appear very high in the sky, almost directly overhead. In those moments, looking up can feel like falling gently backward into a sea of colour. The glow arches above you like a wide, quiet dome. You may feel as if the sky has moved closer, wrapping itself around your field of vision. This closeness does not feel overwhelming, it feels protective and calm. The world below feels distant, softened by snow and darkness, while the glowing roof of the sky rests quietly above. Standing there, you may feel suspended in a peaceful space between earth and stars, held softly in a place where nothing is required of you but slow breathing and gentle attention. Sometimes, the northern lights fade in and out so slowly that you begin to stop noticing exactly when they disappear. One moment the sky is glowing softly. The next you realize that the glow has become almost nothing at all. The change is so gradual that your mind cannot mark the moment of loss. This gentle coming and going feels deeply soothing. It reminds you that not all transitions need to be sharp or sudden. Some can happen in whispers so quiet that the heart never feels startled. Watching the lights move this way can make your own thoughts move more gently too, slipping quietly into rest instead of being pushed. When the northern lights appear low on the horizon, they sometimes look like a distant sunrise made of green and soft gold instead of fire and heat. The glow rests far away from where you stand, touching only the edge of the world. This distant light feels peaceful in a different way. It does not surround you. It waits quietly across space. Watching it can make your thoughts feel wider and slower, as if they are stretching gently toward the horizon along with the light. The space between you and the glow feels calm rather than empty. It becomes a soft distance where worries can dissolve before they ever reach you. In moments when thin ice crystals float in the air, the northern lights can sparkle softly around them, creating tiny flashes of reflected colour. These small glimmers do not distract from the main glow. They add a quiet texture to the darkness. The air itself seems to carry light in slow motion. Watching this delicate interaction between sky and cold air can feel deeply calming. It is a reminder that even the smallest things quietly participate in the night's beauty. Nothing needs to be large or dramatic to matter. Even drifting crystals and faint reflections become part of the gentle whole that guides your awareness into calm. There are times when the northern lights move in such wide, slow sweeps that your eyes begin to follow them without effort. You do not choose to track the movement. Your gaze is simply carried along. This effortless following feels restful in itself. It is a break from the usual habit of directing attention with intention and control. The sky leads, and you are allowed to follow without decision. In this simple exchange, mental effort fades. The need to focus disappears. You become a quiet passenger in the slow journey of light. The longer you follow, the deeper the sense of ease becomes inside your body. On certain nights, the glow of the northern light seems to soften the sharpness of the stars. The points of light become gentler, less piercing, as if seen through a veil of calm. The entire sky begins to look like a slow painting, rather than a deep, infinite space. This softening effect can quiet the mind that tends to sharpen everything it touches. Worries, plans, and expectations lose their clarity and become softer shapes that are easier to release. The sky teaches, without words, that not everything needs to be sharply defined. Sometimes softness is the most restful way to see the world. As the night nears its deepest hours, the northern lights often become quieter in their movement. Their earlier energy fades into slow drifting. The glow becomes thinner, lighter, more transparent. This gentle winding down mirrors the body's own gradual descent into sleep. Watching this slow retreat can feel like watching the night tuck itself in. The sky does not end its display suddenly. It lowers its voice little by little, and as it quiets, your own awareness follows. Thoughts soften, breathing deepens, and when the last faint glow finally blends back into darkness, the calm it created remains, guiding you gently into deep rest. On nights when a thin moon hangs quietly in the sky, the northern lights seem to move with even greater gentleness, as if sharing space with another soft presence. The moonlight spreads a pale silver across the snow, while the green glow drifts silently above it. The two lights never compete, they simply exist together in calm harmony. This quiet balance feels deeply soothing to watch. The sky does not rush to impress. It rests comfortably within its own slow beauty. As you stand beneath this layered light, your own thoughts begin to settle into similar harmony. Nothing inside you needs to be loud. Nothing needs to take control. You breathe slowly, wrapped in silver below and soft green above, feeling the night quietly carrying you toward rest. Sometimes the northern lights appear in long, thin streaks that stretch across the sky like gentle brush strokes. These lines move almost imperceptibly, shifting their shape so slowly that the change feels more like drifting than motion. Watching these quiet strokes can feel like watching a painting create itself in real time. There is no rush to complete the picture. Each stroke lingers as long as it wishes. This slow creation invites your mind to release its own urgency. There is nothing to finish, nothing to hurry toward. You simply remain with what is unfolding now, letting the calm movement of light guide you into a state where time no longer presses forward. In moments when the wind picks up softly across the snow, the northern lights seem to respond with extra fluid grace. The air brushes gently against your skin, while the light above moves like a slow answer to that invisible touch. The cold breeze never feels sharp in these moments. It feels like part of the calm rhythm shared between earth and sky. The sound of wind is low and steady, blending with the silence, instead of breaking it. This quiet interaction between moving air and moving light creates a peaceful balance that settles into your body. Your breathing follows the wind's rhythm, slow and steady, guiding you deeper into quiet awareness. In remote places where no artificial light reaches, the darkness beneath the northern lights feels pure and complete. There are no street lamps, no windows, no distant glow on the horizon. Only the stars and the slow northern sky exist together. This deep darkness does not feel empty. It feels full of quiet possibilities. The lights drift through it like gentle thoughts passing through the mind before sleep. Watching them in such darkness makes their softness more powerful. There's nothing else competing for your attention. You feel gently pulled inward rather than outward, and the weight of everyday concerns slowly slips away into the wide, silent night. There are nights when the northern lights seem to move in long diagonal paths across the sky, creating the sense of a slow journey unfolding above you. The glow travels from one quiet corner of darkness to another without ever arriving in a final place. This endless travelling feels deeply calming. It reminds you that not every journey needs a destination. Some movement exists simply for the sake of moving. Watching this patient travel can ease the need for resolution in your own thoughts. You allow ideas to pass through without needing to settle them. Everything becomes a slow, gentle process without pressure to complete. Sometimes the glow of the northern lights grows so wide that it fills nearly every part of the sky you can see. There is no single point to focus on. Light surrounds you softly from edge to edge. In these moments, your awareness seems to expand along with the sky. You stop scanning. You stop searching. There is nothing to find because everything is already there. This sense of fullness brings deep rest to the mind. You're no longer a watcher looking at something separate. You're inside the glow itself, held quietly within a field of gentle motion and calm colour. On quiet winter roads far from towns, the northern lights sometimes spill softly across frozen ground and empty paths. The light does not brighten the way like a lamp. It simply rests lightly on the darkness, adding a faint glow to places meant to stay quiet and still. Seeing light touch such empty spaces feels deeply peaceful. It is beauty without purpose, light without direction. There is no urgency, no destination, only presence. Watching the glow settle into these forgotten corners of the world can remind you that rest does not need a reason. It simply happens where quiet allows it. In moments when the sky is completely clear and the air feels sharp with cold, the northern lights can appear with extraordinary clarity. Even then, they never feel harsh. The edges of their motion remain soft. The brightness remains gentle. This calm clarity is different from sharp brightness. It allows you to see without feeling overstimulated. Your eyes remain relaxed even as they take in the full movement of the sky. This gentle clarity can bring a quiet alertness that does not disturb peace. You feel awake enough to witness, yet calm enough to drift at the same time. Sometimes the northern lights slowly gather into a faint circle or curved shape that feels almost protective. The glow seems to surround a central space of dark sky like a quiet embrace. This forming and releasing of gentle shapes can feel emotionally comforting. It mirrors the natural way rest wraps around the mind when it is ready to let go. The lights never force the shape. They form it slowly, hold it briefly, and then allow it to dissolve. Watching this gentle holding and releasing teaches the nervous system that it is safe to soften, safe to rest without resistance. As the night grows late and the deeper silence settles across the land, the northern lights often become quieter in spirit even if they remain visible. Their movement slows until it is barely more than drifting. Their colour fades into thinner shades of green and pale white. This final stage of the sky's display feels like a slow whisper before sleep. The world grows heavier with stillness. Your body no longer feels the need to stand alert. The calm has reached a point where remaining awake feels optional. And in this gentle ending of light, the night quietly invites you to follow it into rest. On nights when the cold air feels especially clear and still, the northern lights seem to drift with an almost weightless grace. The sky feels vast and untouched, as if no footsteps have ever crossed it. The glow moves so quietly that it feels less like motion and more like a gentle presence passing through. You may find yourself standing without shifting your weight, as if even your body does not wish to disturb the calm. The cold brushes your skin softly, not sharply, and the light above answers with slow bands of peaceful colour. In this delicate balance between chill and glow, your thoughts settle into a quiet openness. Nothing needs to be decided, nothing needs to be finished. You simply remain beneath the resting sky, breathing easily as the night holds you in stillness. Sometimes the northern lights appear as faint, flowing ripples that travel slowly across the darkness like distant echoes on water. Each ripple feels like the last soft response to a movement long forgotten. The light does not surge forward. It drifts with memory and patience. Watching these slow echoes can feel like listening to a lullaby made only of space and silence. Your eyes follow the movement without strain. You blink less often. The rhythm of the sky becomes steady and predictable, and your nervous system begins to trust it. With each passing ripple, your mind grows lighter, and the need to hold on to any thought at all gently fades away. In wide, open fields of snow, where the land feels endless and untouched, the northern lights seem to rest gently above the world rather than hover over it. The glow touches the horizon softly, as if placed there with care. The quiet openness creates a deep sense of room inside your thoughts. There is no crowding in your mind, no pressure from the edges. You feel as though you are standing inside a wide breath that never ends. The sky does not feel heavy, it feels spacious and slow. In this wide quiet, worries stretch thin and begin to dissolve, leaving behind only the simple experience of being present beneath a moving canopy of calm light. There are moments when the northern lights softly echo the shape of distant mountain ranges, tracing their quiet curves with glowing lines far above. The solid stillness of the land meets the slow softness of the sky in a peaceful arrangement of contrast. One does not challenge the other, they exist together in balance. Watching this harmony can bring a deep internal settling, as if the parts of you that move and the parts of you that rest have finally found agreement. You no longer feel pulled between activity and stillness. You're simply present between both, resting quietly within a world that has room for motion without disturbance. Sometimes the northern lights drift so slowly that it feels as if the sky itself has become tired and is moving only out of habit. The glow slides through the darkness with a quiet weariness that feels comforting rather than sad. It suggests that even the sky knows how to move gently when the night grows deep. Watching this slow fatigue and light can guide your own transition into rest. You feel permission to stop holding your alertness so tightly. Your shoulders soften, your breathing lowers. The need to stay awake loosens its grip as the sky demonstrates how to continue moving without effort. On rare nights, the lights form soft, layered waves that rise one behind the other like slow ocean swells made of colour. Each wave follows the last with patient timing, never overtaking it, never breaking its calm rhythm. The gentle repetition becomes deeply soothing. Your mind stops anticipating what will come next because every movement feels comfortably familiar. The sequence continues without surprise, without urgency. In this steady pattern, the brain relaxes its alertness. The world no longer demands quick response. Everything moves with reassurance, guiding the body naturally toward quiet and rest. In places where frozen rivers lie hidden beneath thick snow, the northern lights often reflect faintly in the smooth ice beneath. The reflection is never sharp. It appears as a softened glow beneath the world, like a quiet answer to the sky above. Watching both together creates the feeling of being held between two calm surfaces of light. The world feels balanced, suspended, peaceful. There is no feeling of falling or rising. Everything rests in a steady middle space. This balance gently quiets the inner sense of motion, allowing both body and mind to settle into a state where even the idea of movement feels unnecessary. There are nights when the northern lights seem to carry a quiet patience that feels unending. The glow continues long after your excitement fades, long after your thoughts grow heavy with sleep. The sky does not hurry to finish its display. It remains as long as it wishes, steady and unconcerned with time. This patience can be deeply comforting. It shows you that rest does not need a deadline. Calm does not need to conclude. You do not need to rush towards sleep. You're allowed to drift there slowly, at the same gentle pace the sky has chosen for itself. Sometimes the glow thins into pale curtains that barely stand out against the darkness. These faint lights do not demand to be seen. They only offer themselves quietly to anyone willing to watch closely. This subtle presence feels deeply restful. It teaches the mind to soften its focus, to notice without effort, to observe without expectation. You stop searching the sky for strong color and begin to rest your eyes in gentle awareness instead. In this softened watching, your inner dialogue quiets. The night becomes less about seeing clearly and more about feeling calmly. As the longest part of the night approaches and silence grows even deeper across the land, the northern lights often become little more than a quiet suggestion in the sky. Their color fades into thin traces. Their movement slows into barely visible drift. This final stage of the light feels like the sky is whispering its last goodnight. The world beneath feels heavy with rest. Your body mirrors this weight gently, sinking into stillness without resistance. And as the last faint glow disappears into darkness, you're left not with emptiness, but with a deep, steady calm that feels ready to carry you into sleep. On certain quiet nights, the northern lights seem to move as if they're floating on invisible water high above the world. The glow drifts in slow, smooth paths that feel gentle and effortless. Nothing in the sky appears hurried. Even the cold seems to rest quietly in place. Watching this slow floating motion can make your mind feel lighter, as if your thoughts are no longer touching the ground. You begin to feel gently lifted away from daily worries, carried by the calm pace of the sky. Your body remains warm and still, but your awareness drifts softly upward, following the slow paths of light. In this quiet, floating feeling, the space between your thoughts grows wider, giving you room to rest without effort. In deep winter silence, when the world feels wrapped in thick calm, the northern lights often seem to glow from within that stillness rather than above it. The darkness feels soft and full rather than empty. The light rises gently from it as if the night itself is exhaling color. This blending of glow and darkness feels peaceful rather than dramatic. There is no sharp contrast, only gradual change. Watching this slow rising can make your awareness feel heavy and relaxed, like sinking slowly into a warm blanket. The night does not pull at your senses, it cradles them. And within that gentle cradle, the mind naturally loosens its grip on alertness. Sometimes the northern lights appear in delicate threads that weave slowly through the sky like fine silk moving through water. These thin strands drift, cross, and separate without ever feeling tangled. Their gentle weaving feels like a slow conversation between currents of quiet energy. Watching these soft threads can be deeply soothing to a restless mind. You stop searching for patterns and simply follow the drift. The movement is too slow to demand attention, yet steady enough to hold it gently. In this quiet balance, your thoughts begin to move with the same soft rhythm, crossing and releasing without tension. On wide Arctic plains, where the land stretches flat and open beneath the sky, the northern lights often feel even larger and slower. There is nothing to block their movement, nothing to interrupt their flow. The glow drifts endlessly from one horizon to the other. like a slow river of light with no visible banks. Standing in such openness can make your inner world feel more spacious too. The mind no longer feels crowded. Worries feel spread thin across a wide field of calm. The slow movement overhead becomes the only thing that truly fills the space, and it does so without pressure or demand. There are nights when the northern lights feel as though they are breathing with the sky itself. The glow gently swells, then softens again, as if the night is taking long, slow breaths. This steady expansion and release create a visual rhythm that the body naturally follows. You begin to breathe more deeply without noticing the change. Your chest moves in the same unhurried pattern as the light above. With each gentle cycle, tension quietly leaves your muscles, and the sense of effort inside your body dissolves. You no longer feel as though you're trying to relax. Relaxation simply happens, guided by the calm breath of the sky. In places where distant hills rise softly against the horizon, the northern lights often seem to settle into the gentle curves of the land. The glow follows the low rise and fall of faraway shapes like a quiet echo of the earth itself. Ski and land feel connected by slow motion and soft outline. Watching this quiet harmony can bring a feeling of unity, as if nothing in the world is truly separate. The boundaries between above and below seem less distinct. This feeling of gentle connection can be deeply restful for the mind, allowing thoughts to settle into a calm sense of belonging rather than separation. Sometimes the northern lights linger in one part of the sky for a very long time, barely shifting at all. The glow holds its place with soft persistence, as if it has chosen to rest there with you. This stillness within movement feels oddly comforting. You no longer feel the need to scan the entire sky. Your attention rests easily in one quiet area of light. The steadiness becomes almost meditative. Your breathing steadies, your heartbeat seems slower. Everything inside you begins to mirror the calm patience of the light that refuses to hurry away. On nights when the cold feels especially deep and clear, the northern lights shine with a softened purity that feels different from brightness. The colours appear clean and calm, free from harshness. Even when the glow becomes wide, it never overwhelms your senses. It feels like the sky is careful with your eyes, gentle with your awareness. This careful quality feels safe. You're able to look without straining, to watch without excitement. The sky offers beauty in a way that does not stir the nervous system, only quiets it. And in that gentle offering, the body naturally prepares for rest. There are moments when the northern lights appear to gently fold back on themselves, creating soft bends and curves that never fully close. The motion feels like a quiet turning inward. These folding shapes can feel strangely comforting to watch, as if the sky itself is curling into a resting position. This visual cue can subtly guide your own sense of settling. Your limbs feel heavier, your shoulders round slightly, your neck softens. You feel yourself folding inward from alertness toward rest, guided by the slow, curling motion of light high above. As the deepest part of the night passes and silence settles into its fullest form, the northern lights often grow faint and distant. Their colours thin into quiet traces that drift slowly toward invisibility. This gentle fading never feels like loss. It feels like completion. The sky does not close its display abruptly. It allows the light to drift away with patience. Watching this slow disappearance can guide your final step towards sleep. The mind does not cling to the glow. It releases it gently, just as the sky does. And in that shared release, rest arrives naturally and without resistance. On some of the quietest winter nights, the northern lights seem to drift as if they are made of breath rather than light. The glow appears thin and weightless, moving so gently that it feels like the sky itself is sighing in slow motion. The darkness around it does not resist. It simply holds the light with calm patience. Watching this soft movement can make your chest feel lighter. as if your own breathing has become slower and deeper without effort. The world no longer feels sharp, edges soften, sounds fade into distant quiet. Even cold feels less demanding. In this gentle exchange between glow and darkness, you are pulled naturally into a state where nothing presses you to stay awake. The sky does not perform, it rests. And as you rest with it, sleep begins to feel like the most natural thing in the world. In wide northern valleys where the land dips low and silent beneath the sky, the northern lights often appear to hover like quiet guardians above the empty space. Their glow does not rush from hill to hill. It settles gently into the open air, as if testing the stillness before moving on. This slow hovering creates a deep feeling of suspension, as though the world is balanced perfectly between motion and rest. Standing beneath this quiet presence, you may feel your own sense of urgency dissolve. The body remembers how to stand without tension. The mind remembers how to wait without impatience. Everything feels held in a calm pause that asks nothing of you but gentle awareness. Sometimes the lights grow brighter in one small area of the sky while the rest remains dim and quiet. This focused glow feels like a soft spotlight in a vast dark room. Yet even in its brightness, it remains gentle. The contrast does not stir excitement. It creates a focal point for rest. Your eyes drift toward the brighter place and remain there without effort. You stop scanning. You stop searching. The sky offers you one calm place to settle your attention, and you accept it easily. This steady focus quiets mental movement. Thoughts slow. Breathing steadies. The night becomes smaller, softer, and more peaceful around that single glowing point. On nights when the northern lights move in soft zigzag patterns, the motion feels playful yet unhurried. The light changes direction gradually, never sharply, as if guided by invisible currents moving with great patience. Watching these gentle shifts can feel like following a slow dance that has no choreography and no end. You do not try to predict what will happen next. You simply allow the motion to unfold. This surrender to slow unpredictability can be deeply soothing for a mind that is used to planning and control. The sky shows you that movement does not need intention to be beautiful, and your own thoughts begin to loosen their need for order. In places where the snow falls thick and heavy, muffling every sound, the northern lights seem to glow inside a world of deep quiet. The light feels almost insulated by the silence, cushioned by the still air and soft ground. Even your own movements feel quieter than usual, as if the night absorbs everything. This extreme hush makes the light above feel even more dreamlike. It becomes easier to forget the world you came from earlier in the day. The noise of waking life fades far into the background. Your awareness narrows gently to the simple experience of standing, breathing, and watching. Everything else seems unnecessary in this cocoon of quiet. There are times when the northern lights appear to move in wide, slow arcs that feel almost ceremonial in their steadiness. The curves are smooth and patient, as if drawn by a very slow hand across the sky. These arcs can feel reassuring in their consistency. They do not break suddenly. They do not surprise. They simply continue quietly and faithfully. Watching such steady motion can calm the part of the mind that fears sudden change. The sky demonstrates that not all movement is disruptive. Some motion exists only to carry calm forward from one moment to the next, unbroken and safe. Sometimes the glow of the northern light seems to sink slightly lower in the sky, then rise again, like a slow tide made of light. This gentle vertical movement feels deeply grounding. It connects the sense of above and below in a quiet rhythm. You may feel as if the sky is nodding slowly to the earth, and the earth is answering with stillness. In this slow exchange, your own body seems to find its natural place between the two. You do not feel pulled upward by excitement or pushed downward by fatigue. You simply exist in balance, gently buoyed by the slow rise and fall of glowing colour. On rare, especially calm nights, The northern lights can appear almost motionless for long stretches of time. The glow holds its shape like a quiet thought that refuses to hurry away. This stillness within the presence of light can feel like standing inside a long pause. The world does not feel frozen, it feels suspended. In that suspension, your internal pace slows dramatically. Even blinking feels unnecessary. Your awareness grows soft and open. You feel as though you're resting inside the moment rather than moving through it. This deep, still watching can bring a kind of rest that feels deeper than sleep and lighter than waking. In remote northern coastlines, where frozen water meets silent land, the northern lights often reflect faintly on dark, icy surfaces near the shore. The reflection trembles slightly with distant movement beneath the ice, creating a quiet, living mirror of the sky. This doubled light feels like a conversation between above and below. Neither one dominates. They simply echo each other in slow, softened motion. Watching this silent exchange can deepen the sense of calm inside you. It feels as if the world is speaking to itself in a language made entirely of light and stillness, and you're allowed to listen without needing to understand. As the long night reaches its quietest hours, when even the stars seem to dim in your tired perception, the northern lights often thin into faint traces that barely disturb the darkness. Their last movements are slow and delicate, as if the sky itself is growing sleepy. The glow no longer seeks attention. It drifts quietly toward rest. Watching this final softness can guide you gently toward your own ending of wakefulness. There is no sharp goodbye, only a gradual release into deeper darkness and heavier calm. And in that shared fading of light and awareness, sleep arrives like a natural continuation of the night. On nights when the sky feels especially wide and empty, the northern lights can give the dark a gentle sense of direction. The glow does not push away the darkness, it simply guides your eyes softly across it, like a slow-moving compass made of light. Watching this quiet guidance can make your thoughts feel less scattered. The mind no longer jumps from place to place. It follows one slow path at a time, drifting without urgency. Your breathing settles into a smooth rhythm, steady and unforced. The cold feels distant. The silence feels full. In this slow guidance of light across darkness, you may find that your awareness becomes simple and calm, resting easily within the quiet movement of the night. Sometimes the northern lights appear as soft, overlapping waves, with one layer of colour drifting gently over another. Each layer moves at its own slow pace, creating a feeling of depth and softness rather than complexity. There is no confusion in the layering. Everything remains gentle and easy for the eyes to follow. Watching these soft overlaps can quiet the part of the mind that feels overwhelmed by too many thoughts at once. The sky shows how many things can move together without conflict. In that lesson, your own thoughts begin to slow and separate peacefully, settling one by one into a calm and open awareness. In places where the cold becomes so deep that even the air feels still, the northern lights seem to glow with extra clarity. The colours appear clean and calm, floating in perfectly quiet space. There is no distortion from wind or cloud, only slow motion against a silent backdrop. This pure quiet can bring a rare sense of peace. It feels as if the world has paused everything unnecessary, leaving only breath, light, and rest. The longer you stand within this clarity, the more your mind releases its noise. You feel yourself becoming lighter inside, as if your thoughts are no longer touching the ground but hovering gently in the calm. There are nights when the northern lights slowly stretch upward in tall, soft shapes that feel like they are reaching without effort. These gentle rises never feel ambitious or strained. They simply unfold naturally, like a long yawn from the sky. Watching this upward drift can bring a matching stretch to your own body. Without noticing, your spine lengthens slightly. Your shoulders loosen. Your chest opens with a deeper breath. The body responds to the sky's slow movements without instruction. In this silent exchange between above and within, tension slides quietly away, and rest becomes a natural continuation of watching. Sometimes the northern lights become so faint that they are barely visible unless you remain very still. Only when the eyes stop looking too hard does the glow begin to appear. This teaches a gentle lesson in softness of attention. Effort makes the light harder to see. Stillness allows it to reveal itself. As you practice this quiet watching, your own thoughts begin to behave in the same way. The harder you chase them, the louder they become. When you stop chasing, they soften. The night becomes a space where everything appears only when it is ready, without force, without pressure. In the quietest hours before dawn, the northern lights may drift slowly across a sky that feels almost empty of stars. The darkness grows deep and wide, and the light becomes the only moving thing. In this simplicity, your awareness feels guided into one gentle stream. There are no distractions, no sudden changes, just slow drifting colour across a wide field of calm. This simplicity can be deeply comforting for a tired mind. The brain no longer has to sort through many signals. It follows a single, steady motion, allowing rest to deepen without interruption. Near silent forests where tall trees stand like shadows against the sky, the northern lights sometimes glow behind the branches. The light filters through gaps in the dark outlines, creating soft patterns that move with slow patience. The forest does not hide the light, it shapes it gently. Watching this interaction between tree and sky can feel deeply grounding. The still strength of the trees meets the quiet motion of the glow. Together they create a balance between rest and movement that mirrors your own natural rhythm. You feel steady and drifting at the same time, held between two forms of calm. On certain nights, the northern lights widen so much that it becomes difficult to tell where one shape ends and another begins. The entire sky feels gently filled. This fullness is not overwhelming. It is restful, like being surrounded by calm without edges. In this kind of light, the mind stops searching for structure. It stops needing form. You're simply within the glow rather than observing it. This dissolving of separation can feel deeply soothing. You're no longer standing beneath the sky. You're quietly resting inside its soft movement. Sometimes the northern lights seem to move backward and forward in slow cycles, as if gently reconsidering each step. The motion feels thoughtful rather than directional. There is no hurry to reach any point. This quiet hesitation can feel deeply familiar to a tired mind that no longer wants to move forward quickly. The sky shows that it is allowed to drift without purpose. You are allowed to pause without reason. In that permission, your own inner pressure begins to dissolve. You do not need to reach sleep. You can simply drift toward it at the same gentle pace as the light above. As the night grows heavier and colder, the northern lights often become thinner and more transparent. Their colour fades into pale traces of green and white that barely brush the darkness. This final thinning feels like a quiet whisper from the sky, soft and uninsistent. The world beneath grows still enough to receive it. Your body mirrors that stillness naturally. Muscles loosen, breathing deepens, awareness grows dimmer without feeling empty. And as the last faint trace of light dissolves into the night, your own consciousness follows gently, carried into sleep without resistance. On very clear nights when the air feels like glass, the northern lights can appear with a soft smoothness that feels almost unreal. The glow stretches slowly across the sky without any breaks or sharp edges. Everything feels blended and calm. The cold no longer feels sharp against your skin. It feels distant, as if softened by the quiet beauty above. You may notice how your attention becomes steady without effort. You're no longer scanning the darkness. You're resting your awareness inside the slow movement of light. Even thinking feels like too much work. The night holds you in a peaceful pause where nothing needs your reply. The sky moves, you breathe. That is all that exists in this moment of calm. Sometimes the northern lights form gentle layers that move at slightly different speeds, one drifting above the other like slow clouds of colour. This layered motion feels unhurried and patient. Nothing overtakes anything else. Everything shares space calmly. Watching this can feel deeply reassuring, especially to a tired mind that feels pulled in many directions during the day. The sky shows that different movements can coexist without collision. In that quiet lesson, your own thoughts begin to slow and fall into place. You no longer feel pulled forward by urgency. You simply remain in the present moment, watching calm move within calm. In places where distant mountains rest under thick ice and snow, the northern lights often appear to rise gently from behind their dark silhouettes. The glow lifts slowly upward, outlining the quiet shapes far away. This slow reveal feels tender rather than dramatic. The mountain does not change, only the light changes. This teaches the mind that not everything needs to move to create beauty. Some things remain still while others drift gently around them. Watching this quiet relationship between stillness and motion can be deeply soothing. You feel no need to move. You feel no need to change. You are allowed to rest inside the steady part of the night. There are moments when the northern lights seem to drift sideways rather than upward, sliding across the sky as if carried by a very slow current. This sideways motion feels especially calming because it leads the eyes gently across the horizon instead of pulling them upward. Your gaze floats easily from one edge of the sky to the other. The movement does not ask for focus. It carries your attention without effort. In this simple travel of light, your own inner movement quiets. Thoughts stop racing forward or backward. They simply travel slowly, guided by the same gentle direction as the glowing sky. On nights when the glow is faint yet steady, the northern lights feel more like a quiet presence than a visible display. You know they're there even when they barely stand out from the darkness. This subtle companionship can feel deeply comforting. It is like knowing someone is quietly sitting nearby without needing to speak. The light does not entertain. It simply exists with you. In that shared stillness, your mind begins to release the need for stimulation. You stop needing to be impressed. You stop needing to react. You simply rest in quiet awareness, with the knowledge that gentle beauty remains close even when it is barely visible. In vast frozen deserts of snow and ice, the northern lights can seem to hang very low in the sky, almost touching the empty land. The glow feels near without being close. It rests just beyond reach, creating a peaceful sense of distance. This space between you and the light can feel soothing rather than lonely. It gives your thoughts somewhere to wander slowly without urgency. You're not pulled toward the glow, you're gently accompanied by it from afar. This quiet distance allows your awareness to stretch and drift without tension, easing the mind into a wide and open calm. Sometimes the northern lights move so evenly that you cannot tell whether they are speeding up or slowing down. The motion feels perfectly balanced. This steady pace can make your body feel balanced too. You may notice that your stance becomes more grounded. Your weight settles evenly on your feet. Your hands grow still at your sides. The sky's consistency teaches the body how to rest without collapsing and how to stay awake without effort. In this quiet balance, sleep begins to feel close but not pressing. It waits gently, just like the light. There are nights when the sky's filled with thin mist, and the northern lights glow softly through it like light behind frosted glass. The colours become muted and diffused. Nothing is sharp. Everything becomes smooth and gentle. Watching the light through this soft veil can feel like slipping into a dream while still awake. The edges of the world blur slightly. The contrast fades. Your thoughts follow the same path, losing their sharp outlines and becoming quieter shapes that drift without urgency. In this softened vision of the night, the transition towards sleep feels natural and unforced. On very long winter nights, the northern lights may come and go many times, appearing, fading, and returning in slow cycles. Each return feels quieter than the last. There is no dramatic ending and no strong beginning. The light seems to breathe in and out of the sky. This repetition without intensity can be deeply calming. It tells the mind that nothing sudden is coming, nothing needs to be prepared for. Everything moves in gentle waves of appearance and rest. In this steady rhythm, your own awareness begins to follow the same pattern, drifting closer to sleep with each gentle return. As the cold deepens and the night grows heavier, the northern lights often become thin wisps that glide slowly before fading away completely. Their final moments are never rushed. They leave the sky the same way they entered it, with patience and softness. Watching this quiet departure can feel like a gentle closing of the day's final page. There is no need to hold on. There is no reason to stay alert. The sky itself is resting now. And as the darkness settles fully, your own body and mind follow that same natural path into stillness and sleep. On the very quietest nights, when even the idea of sound seems far away, the northern lights can feel like a final gentle thought drifting through the sky before sleep fully arrives. The glow is slow and nearly motionless, as if the night itself is thinking in soft colour. You may notice how your awareness no longer feels sharp or alert. It feels wide and heavy, like a calm lake at rest. The cold no longer feels separate from you. It becomes part of the stillness you are sharing with the sky. Nothing invites reaction. Nothing asks for attention. You are simply here, breathing slowly beneath a glowing thought that is fading one peaceful moment at a time. Sometimes the northern lights appear one last time near the edge of the horizon, just before morning begins to stir far away. The glow is thin and quiet, barely brushing the darkness with colour. It feels like a soft goodbye whispered by the sky itself. Watching this final movement can feel deeply comforting. There is no rush in its leaving. The light does not disappear suddenly. It dissolves gently, letting the darkness return without conflict. This slow farewell can guide your own awareness into its final descent towards sleep. The night does not end sharply. It softens its grip little by little, just as your thoughts do. On nights when the sky remains perfectly clear until the very end, the fading of the northern lights can feel like watching a candle slowly burn down to its last gentle glow. The light weakens gradually, never dropping suddenly into darkness. The world beneath becomes heavier with silence. Your body mirrors this quiet dimming. Muscles loosen more deeply. Breathing becomes slower and wider. Even your sense of time grows soft and indistinct. The final glow lingers just long enough to feel complete before it disappears. And in that gentle completion, rest feels fully earned and naturally welcomed. In moments when clouds slowly drift in as the lights fade, the glow becomes scattered and broken into soft fragments. The sky seems to hide the last traces of colour carefully, as if tucking them away for another night. This quiet covering feels tender rather than abrupt. It is as though the sky is closing its eyes with you. Watching the last soft fragments disappear behind moving cloud can deepen your own sense of surrender to sleep. The world feels wrapped and protected. The darkness no longer feels open and wide. It feels close, soft, and ready to hold your resting mind. Sometimes the northern lights fade so completely that you begin to wonder if they were ever truly there at all. The sky returns to pure darkness filled only with faint stars, yet the calm remains as clearly as if the light were still glowing. This lingering calm is the quiet gift the lights leave behind. It does not vanish with the colour. It stays inside the chest and behind the eyes. Even when the sky holds no motion, your inner world continues to drift gently in the rhythm the lights created. The absence feels peaceful, not empty. It feels like a completed story that does not need another page. In remote places where no artificial light ever returns after the northern lights fade, the darkness becomes complete and total. There is no glow to replace the sky's gentle motion, yet this complete darkness feels safe and familiar after the calm display. The eyes no longer search, the mind no longer expects change. Everything settles into deep stillness without resistance. This full darkness feels like a soft blanket laid gently over the world. The body relaxes even more deeply into it. You stop feeling separate from the night. You become part of its quiet weight and endless calm. After a long night of watching, when warmth finally calls you indoors or toward rest, the memory of the northern lights continues to move quietly behind closed eyes. The slow arcs and drifting colour seem to repeat softly in the dark of your thoughts. This gentle after-image is not sharp or distracting. It feels like a slow echo fading into sleep. As you lie down, the motion becomes even softer. The sky no longer needs to be seen to be felt. Its calm has already settled inside you, and that calm becomes the bridge that carries you comfortably into deeper rest. There are nights when your dreams begin before you are fully asleep, shaped gently by the last movements of the northern lights you watched. You may see slow colours drifting through shadow, or feel yourself floating in wide, quiet spaces. These early dreams arrive without effort or surprise. They feel like a natural continuation of the sky's soft motion rather than a separate experience. The boundary between waking and dreaming becomes thin and gentle. You do not cross it suddenly. You drift across it slowly, like light dissolving into darkness, and in that drift, sleep receives you without resistance. Sometimes the deepest rest comes not during the greatest brightness of the northern lights, but after they have completely gone. The memory of calm continues working quietly within the body. Muscles loosen further. Breathing drops into a slower rhythm. Even the heartbeat feels softer. The night teaches that beauty does not need to stay in order to leave peace behind. The light departs, but the quiet it created remains. You rest inside that quiet without needing anything more. The sky has already done its work gently and without demand. As the longest night finally gives way to the first hidden hints of morning light far beyond the horizon, the northern lights remain only as a soft imprint on your awareness. The stars grow faint. The darkness slowly changes its texture. Yet you are already deep inside rest. The night has fully guided you where you need to go. There is no need to wake for this change. Sleep has arrived completely and kindly. The sky rests, the land rests, and you rest with them, carried gently by the memory of slow, glowing motion into deep, peaceful sleep. As the final glow of the northern lights fades into the quiet sky, may your breathing feel slow and your mind feel light. Let the stillness of this night remain with you, long after these words have softened into silence. There is nothing more to follow, nothing more to hold on to, just rest. If this peaceful journey brought you comfort, you're always welcome to return for another moment of calm beneath the quiet sky. Until then, may your dreams be gentle, your sleep be deep, and your night be kind. Good night, dear dreamer.